listening live to Power Over Tomorrow with our resident financial advisor, Tyrone.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Power Over Tomorrow. The song you just heard was by our gospel indie artist, Bonita Simmons, and she will be in the studio this Saturday at 3:15. The name of the song we just heard was Setback. No. Let's stop. Not Setback. Step Back. Ooh, let me get that right. We don't want to talk about setbacks. It's called Step Back. And let's step back into the realm of doing things the right way. And I like that song. It's an upbeat song, and I'm sure you'll enjoy hearing more of what Miss Simmons has to say about her recordings and also her efforts to give sound, upbeat songs to help encourage you to step back. Step back, that's right. We're going to get it. Well, ladies, I tell you, we're talking about building a financial foundation, a firm financial foundation. And the reason for doing that is, unfortunately, sometimes so many people have financial tongue-tied. Hold on a second. Let me do this. I think I'm going to solve this situation. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Nothing beat a nice cold drink of water on a nice hot day. That's right. It makes a tongue flow smooth. Okay. Now, what I want to help flow smooth is your financial situation. Many times in life, we have to deal with issues that causes us to find and face setbacks in life. Many of those setbacks that we face in life occur when we lose money. Many folks focus on the loss of money when it comes to material things, such as your house, your cars, your jewelry, your fine arts, all right? And even some folks, even their pets. But the key factor that we should be focusing on, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that insurance is designed to replace the income that you're providing. That's what it does. It's replace the value of something. And there is nothing of greater value than you. Nothing. You may feel that, your house, your cars, yes, it has a value. But listen, every day that you get up in the morning, every day that you have the ability to work, you are creating a value. Just think about it. For those folks who like to hang out on the street corner or sleep, and unless they work in a graveyard shift, there's no reason why a man should be sleeping till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, unless he just got off of work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, but if that's not the case, then we need to nip this in the bud. Now, what I'm pointing out is this: those folks who are not creating a value, all they typically create is havoc, and you can't get far in life creating havoc. So what we want to do is focus on those who are creating a value. When you create that value is irreplaceable. Why, yes, there will be times where you may have to make an assessment on the money that you're bringing to the table, or the talent that you're bringing to the table. In such cases as when you're negotiating for a pay raise. If you're working for someone, you give them what you believe is a good assessment of the amount of money you should be making. That assessment is what are you doing? You're assessing your value. Okay, when you see what you bring to the table, what you've done for the company, and you want to be paid accordingly. Well, the same thing goes when we have to cover the loss of your ability to make money. Whether it is a physical loss where you can't work due to accident or disability, or even a mental loss. Sometimes when folks leave they lose their faculties. Why do you think there is such a big push in the NFL to make sure certain things are covered? Because when they can cover the head injuries from, and the mental stability of their players based upon concussions. And if you didn't see it, and I'm sure it's probably on the internet somewhere, that movie done by Will Smith, I think a couple of years ago, and it was based on the concussions. It wasn't in the movie theaters that long, but it was a good awakening to the issues that occur with head injuries, not just from football. Football is the major factor, but even if you should have a fall off a bicycle. There are many folks in the South that ride motorcycles without helmets. Even in other sports, when I was a wrestling official, one of the key factors that I focused on was making sure that when the opponent was picked up, or one of the wrestlers was picked up, that when they brought him down, the first thing I said when they pick him up, I said, take it easy. Take it easy. I'm not instructing them how to wrestle, but I'm letting them know that when you pick someone up, you have the responsibility of bringing them down safely to avoid injury, and that way everyone can continue wrestling. So head injuries is a factor where it may not stop you from physically working, but it may stop you from mentally being able to work. So there are many reasons why insurance needs to be in your financial foundation. When you think about building a financial foundation, the main thing that you should be looking at. I know folks want to talk about building assets. Well, that's next week. We'll talk about investments next week. But you can't build a house without a foundation. Your assets, all right, are the things that you build on top of your foundation. That's right. When you're building and working, and you have these things coming together, what you want to do is that you want that foundation to be leveled, you want it to be solid, you want it to be strong. When we talk about building, what architect, what builder will build a skyscraper on sinking sand? When we try and reach the stars with our assets, reach for the sky and build, the higher you go up, the deeper that foundation has to be. When you think about taking out a mortgage on your home, and now starter homes can begin at $250,000, $300,000. All right, so if you have a home, you're building assets up, and your asset right now is at $250,000, $300,000, and you're walking with $100,000 worth of life insurance. Think about it. You have more up than you have down. So what I'm pointing out is this: the foundation on which you build. If you're going to build up, it has to be at least equally as deep down. And when I speak in deep down, I'm talking about your insurance portfolio. Insurance is the foundation. Now, what if you say, well, I got enough insurance? Well, we did a quick assessment. And on our website at tsmitchell.com, if you go to the educate, let me get this real quick. Go to the education center on our website. When you go in there, some of the information not primarily all of the information we're speaking about will be on there. All right, in the education center, you can go to an area called financial calculators. Under the financial calculators, you will have things such as calculators for retirement, calculators for your estate, calculators for investment, calculators for insurance. All right. And the first thing that will pop up is assess your life insurance needs. That's right. Assess your life insurance needs. We're speaking about building what? Your financial foundation. The first part, the deepest part of that foundation is going to be your insurance portfolio, because insurance replaces the value of an asset. And the primary asset that you have for yourself and for your family is you. You're your primary asset. When we walk around with the less insurance than we need, then that's a concern. Just last weekend, I officiated over a funeral of a young man. And, some folks said, well, I'm too young to have insurance, or I don't have any children. I don't have this. I don't have that. But let me tell you something. The young man, yeah, anybody younger than me is a young man, okay? Although he didn't have any wife, he didn't have any children, he still had to be buried. And with him still having to be buried, I still had to officiate over the funeral. I still had to preach his eulogy. I still have to talk to the family now that he's been buried to see if they're able to continue on. So what happened? The mother and his siblings had to put some money together. And make sure that they were able to take care of his final remains. Now, hear me on this. I'm not trying to replace you. I'm trying to make sure that the folks that you leave behind will not have a financial burden hanging over them. I had a gentleman tell me one time, well, all I need is enough insurance to bury me. That's all I need. That's all I need. And I'm looking over his assets and everything, and he told me all I need is $10,000. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. All you may need is $10,000 to bury. But then I turned to his wife. I said, although the house is paid off, you still got the taxes on the home, you still got the property, you still got all this stuff. How much money do you need to remain in the lifestyle that he provided you with? And she said, I need more than $10,000. And guess what? We did what she needed. And the reason for that is because is that when you set a lifestyle for your family, that lifestyle has to be maintained. What person would want their child to start college, and then when that person is no longer around, then you want your child to drop out of school because what, they can't afford it anymore? Does that make any sense? All right, you're going to provide your wife. If I'm speaking to the men, yeah, I'm speaking to the men because I, as a man, okay. Now when I'm speaking to them, now sometimes it works both ways too. Now, ladies, a lot of you are making more money than your husband. Brother, you ain't got to be afraid about that. You ain't got to be ashamed about that, because scripturally, the two come together and become one. Two households become one. Two checking accounts should become one. So you got one mortgage, you got one electric bill, you got one water bill. Okay, well, pool your money together. Two people can live cheaper than one. All right, but we'll talk a little bit about that. That part is the cash flow management 2 weeks from now. All right, but look here. Regarding the insurance, when you have a household that's dependent upon two people working to provide that roof over your head, to provide the food on the table, to provide the clothes on the backs, so money has to be provided. If the money isn't there, it has to come from somewhere. And the reason why we look at insurance, particularly life insurance, because insurance in its nature replaces the loss. You are insuring a loss. You are leveraging the loss. And leveraging is simply this: using the assets of others to help cover the cost of what you're going through now. What asset are you using? You are using the assets of the insurance company. That's what you're using. Insurance companies represents the largest financial institutions in the world. Not banks, not banks, insurance companies. Why? Because insurance companies have to insure, they insure literally everything. Not only people, not only products, but they even insure technology. They insure basically everything that man can assess a value to. There's a form of insurance. Why do you think that AIG was one of the first companies that needed to be protected or bailed out during the crisis, during the Wall Street crisis? The reason was that financial crisis was a worldwide effect. It was. Once they got rid of the Glass-Steagall Act, banks began to offer insurance products. Insurance companies began to tap into investment fields. Investments companies began to offer banking products. Those three industries, which were once separated, now became one known as the financial industry. That means that the game has changed. So the rules, when the game changed, the rules changed, and we as individuals have to make the adjustments we need to be able to stay in the game. One of the biggest games that we miss out on is when we don't provide enough insurance to cover the loss. Now, I know I've been particularly talking about life insurance, all right, but there are other forms. We have auto, okay, you have health insurance, you have disability, you have liability. You have renters, you have extended care. All of these have to be reviewed. Depending upon where you are in your life, whether you are, and I'm just looking over my notes right now. Let me get to the first one. Okay, let's start off with the first one. Young and single. I'm going to talk about young and single first, all right? Now, when you're young and single, the transition, all right? Not just a transition, you're transitioning to a state of independence. You're young, okay? It seems as if you got the world ahead of you. And everything is at your beck and call. Even you may find yourself even knowing that, well, you know what? I'm going to start this career right now. And by the time I'm 25, I'm going to be at this stage. By the time I'm 30, I want to be at this stage. And then you break it down and you go through those little assessments or those little projections of where you want to be. But listen, when you start off in your 20s, don't blink. Don't blink now. And if you do blink, don't blink where your eyes are closed for a long period of time, because time is going to go by fast. By the time you get to your 25th birthday, then the following year, you're going to be closer to 30. That's right. You'll be 26, and you'll be closer to 30 than you will be 20. And then when you hit 30, then you're going to say, man, what's happening? And then you're going to be trying to settle down, and then you're going to be trying to, you're going to be making adjustments in your life. You're going to be measuring. But during those periods of time, now, let's look at for a young and single person. Life insurance may not be the major insurance that you need at the time, because if you're just depending, on yourself, and there's no children or mortgage or large liabilities that would need to be paid off for you, then you still need some form. And what form that you definitely would need? Okay, just like the young man that I had to perform this funeral for just last week, his family still need to have to come up with the money to put him away, all right, to bury him. So with that, at least make sure you have something not just on the job, and I'm going to point that out. The reason why you don't want to just wait or just have only something on the job is most of you millennials, and you know it as well as I do, you don't stay long on the job. All right, just let's tell the truth. Now, you don't stay long on the job. It's been estimated that by the time that you retire, the millennials, let's say if you're starting off in 20 and if you retire by let's say 70 years old. I'm pushing saying 70. The reason is because the Social Security will not be at 100% for you until you reach age 70. That's just based upon the age that you're on now. So at 70, so that's 50 years. So somewhere in those 50 years, you will have at least 15 to 16 different jobs. So that basically saying about every 3 years, 3 or 4 years, you're going to be getting a new job. Now, if the only insurance that you have is what you have on the job, when you move from one job to the next, if it takes you 2 weeks to find a new job, takes you 2 months to find a new job, if you are between jobs, guess what happens with your insurance? It stops. For as long as you are no longer working there, then you are no longer covered. So if you're no longer an employee, then the insurance and the benefits you have on that job will at some point stop. And you don't want to be between jobs in a transition. Then something happens to you and your family has to pass around a hat to help with the funeral costs, to help cover the cost of your bills. Now, there are some bills that would pass with the deceased, but in essence, the things that you owe, student loans, all right, taxes. If at any time that your parents may have signed for a co-sign on a loan, you may pass away, but your parents, your grandparents are still liable for that debt. For as long as you are living, you can pay that debt. But once you pass, that debt passes on to them. And trust me, meaning the collectors, the creditors, will continue to call. So young folks, those singles, millennials, when you're out there and you're working, make sure that you have some insurance outside of your job. Doesn't have to be, $1 million or something that's comfortable. Now, another good aspect is if you buy your insurance now at a younger age, you will typically pay less for your insurance than you would when you're older. Why? Because insurance is based on, especially life insurance, is based on a risk factor. And the risk factor is based on your mortality rate. And your mortality rate is based on, here we go again, it's like a domino effect. Your mortality rate is based on your age. The older you are, the more you pay because your chances of dying become greater. Your health. If you are healthy, young and healthy, you will pay less for life insurance than someone who may be older and have some health conditions. Okay? And then, of course, and then your sex. Not if you're having it, but are you male or female? Okay? Male or females, typically, men will pay more for life insurance than a woman. And that is because a man or woman the same age, the same lifetime, typically a woman will outlive a man an average of 5 years. So with that being said, their life insurance premiums are a little bit less because it's spread out over a longer period of time. Those 5 years, they do make a difference. Now, another part I want to point out too, if you're smoking cigarettes, woo boy, if you're smoking cigarettes, now I'm not saying you can't get insurance, you can get it, but you have to really make an assessment. Are those cigarettes worth the extra premium that you'll be paying for your life insurance? That's a major factor. I mean, years ago, the premiums were maybe about, I would say maybe a 5 or 10% difference between a smoker and a non-smoker. But let me tell you, now I've seen insurance companies charge up to 50% more. 50% more for a life insurance premium when someone is a smoker. So if you're talking about disqualifying yourself, hey, you keep smoking them cigarettes, You not only when they call them coffin, no, what they call them coffin nails. Yeah, that's right. They are coffin nails. They will put you in the coffin, and they will leave your family buried in financial debt because you couldn't afford the insurance. So be mindful of your health and even the food that you're eating. When we eat a lot of high cholesterol food, that brings upon issues that may clog your arteries. And those clogged arteries can lead to what? Heart disease. So it's always good if you're young and healthy, get out there, get some form of insurance, especially life insurance to help protect your future and also those who care and love you right now. And another good thing is for those young folks who are active in not-for-profit organizations and also church, maybe you want your alumni or what do you call it, the divine